90.5 FM KSJS presents
Mecca 1. Muslims engaged in
creating consciousness
in America.
.5 FM KSJS, Thursdays from 5 to 6 p.m. So if you don't know, now you do, alhamdulillah. Today's topic of discussion is ethnic jihad, and we're going to get into the show in just a little bit. And as you know, if you've received the announcements for today's show, we are giving out 2 free registrations for the upcoming ethnic jihad program. Let's give out the question right now. The question is, identify a struggle you overcame and how it is important in maintaining your identity as an American Muslim. Once again, identify a struggle you overcame and how it is important in maintaining your identity as an American Muslim. For example, a sister who hasn't been wearing hijab, she puts on hijab. A brother who hasn't been praying, he starts praying. Or a brother's been praying and he starts praying in the masjid. So something like that similar. Then I want to know how that is important in maintaining your identity as an American Muslim, something you have struggled for in the deen. So we're going to start taking calls, not now, but we will take calls after Imam Zaid and Sheikh Hamza have spoken toward the latter part of the show. And the phone number, you can note it down, 408-924-KSJS. That's 408-924-5757. And we encourage you guys to call in and share your answer with us. And for those sisters who are shy, alhamdulillah, they can also email us their answer, and we'll just base it on whoever emails us first. Now, this only goes for the sisters, but if we do get a sister over the phone, she would take precedence. So our email is Mecca1, MECCAONE @ksjs.org. That's MECCAONE @ksjs.org, inshallah. And we're going to get right into the show right about now.
Mecca 1.
Allah, 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 Allah.
Alhamdulillah, we have Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, founder of the Zaytuna Institute, with us today. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
The topic of discussion is ethnic jihad, the struggles of Muslims in America. Can you give us a little history in terms of the Muslim struggles in America and why you think this topic is important?
Well, the term, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, first of all, the term ethnic jihad was something that I thought of in relation to the struggle of minority peoples to be enfranchised in the United States. That's a struggle. Every community that comes to these shores, with the exception of the traditionally dominant Anglo-Saxon Protestant community, every community that has come to these shores has really had to struggle for enfranchisement, to be recognized as a community. And some of these communities are actually still struggling. They haven't gained full enfranchisement. Other ones have. For instance, the Irish American community was one of the most oppressed communities in the United States. A lot of people don't know that. They don't realize that white Irish, who as pale as the moon, nonetheless were treated actually lower than Native American and black people in this country. And also there was a lot of divide and conquer tactics that were used, getting the Irish and the African Americans to fight each other in some of the inner cities, especially in New York and in Boston area and Chicago and these places. So ethnic jihad is really the struggle of different ethnicities in becoming part of America's tapestry. Now, in one sense, the Muslims aren't really an identifiable ethnic category, but the majority of Muslims do make up peoples of color in the United States. They're from the African American community, from the South Asian community, from the Arab community, and increasingly from the Hispanic community. The Euro-American Muslims are a very small minority within the Muslim, although they're gaining some ground. So the ethnic jihad is really part of the Muslim struggle in this country, because the Muslims are still identified largely as non-white peoples. And so really that it's about highlighting that struggle of non-white peoples in the United States. to be enfranchised and to be part of what this country has set up as its highest ideals. And they're wonderful ideals, but ideals are only ideals if they are achievable, if they can become realities. If they're not, they're fantasies. And so this country is constantly challenged to work towards those ideals until the ideals become realities, and then other ideals emerge. You know, if you look at the 14th Amendment, which was designed originally to enfranchise black people in this country, and that was passed in the 1860s, and yet it wasn't until the 1960s that you had the Civil Rights Amendments. And to this day, even though there has been a lot of ground gained in the last 40 years, there's still a lot of work to be done. So it's really highlighting the aspects of the Muslim struggle in the United States.
What are some of the biggest struggles you see facing the American Muslim? And of those struggles, which one of those are the biggest?
Well, probably the greatest struggle for the Muslims today is to rediscover their Islam. I mean, I would say that was the biggest challenge, because Muslims, I mean, there was a certain point, I was in a Muslim prep school in England, just visiting. I was giving a lecture there, and we were staying there for like a week, and I was in a room, and it was actually a Quranic. It was a school for Hifz al-Quran, and then they had academics, so it was like a Muslim private school, and we were moving some beds out, and under one of the beds, under the mattress, there were all these pornographic magazines, and I remembered really being shocked by that. But the more I thought about it, I just remembered my own experiences at a Catholic preparatory school, where things like that were pretty common. So what it made me realize is just that for a lot of Muslims, their religion is it's just what they were born into, and they haven't really taken it on as a serious commitment of faith. For converts, that is the sine qua non of your conversion, that this is a very serious thing and you're going to take it very seriously. So for me, it took a long time to really realize that a lot of Muslims are they're just born into this religion, and it really hasn't, in some ways there's a higher commitment than, say, Christianity, just by the fact that even the most marginalized Muslim often prays 5 times a day. And that does take a level of commitment that you might not find in, say, a marginalized Christian or Hindu or Buddhist or a Jewish person. So I think that's the real challenge, is to really take the religion seriously, that it's a very serious matter.
So do you think that the converts have a struggle in terms of navigating themselves inside the Muslim community to find out or to realize what's culture and what's Islam?
Well, obviously, if you become a Muslim, for me, when I became Muslim, I identified with North African Islam initially, and then later West African Islam. But then at a certain point, I realized I can't identify with a cultural Islam, because I'm not a West African, I'm not a Mauritanian, I'm not a Moroccan. I'm from America, I'm from California. And so